Oh, welcome to diarrhea. I'm shit. That's piss.
Oh, hello, everybody. Piss on my tits. Walk on me for $50.
Come to my house. I'm into bondage. I'll be tied up. Take my stuff.
You'll
It's
be
not what I'm in.
tied up?
Yeah, but here's what my kink is: reporting crimes to the police. So be careful. I'm coming for you. You got a head start, but the dogs of justice are coming for you. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
I got whatever kink it is where you fucking drink your own piss and then you nut. I don't need you.
You're Aaron Rodgers.
Does Aaron Rodgers drink his own piss?
He does drink his own piss. This is the new revelation. So basically what's happened, and I'm going to say this right now about the NFL, and Dylan's camera is woeful. We're out of frame.
No, this camera is good.
No, it's not good. You're pixelating. You look like a piece of shit. Oh, wait. That's just your face. Okay,
nice.
So Aaron Rodgers basically is getting burned booked by all the former Green Bay Packers fans in that classic way of, I've been in comedy with a guy that you're like, this guy presents really nice and has a bit too much power, so I can't just call him a dick. But then once he starts to lose power, everyone's like, man, that guy farted so many times in my car. Let's fucking go. And that's what's happening in that, like the former third string linebacker's like, Aaron Rodgers told me to drink piss. I don't drink piss. I'm from Green Bay. I'll drink cheese that's been blended into a liquid.
I really do like just apparently do not be the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers and then leave them, because immediately after,
oh my God,
Brett Favre also got caught cheating on his wife with a lady that looked exactly like his wife, and then fucking what's it called? Now he has Parkinson's, which is because he left the Green Bay Packers,
and also all that welfare scamming he may or may not have done. Let's not forget about
Parkinson's. Makes it sad that he's a victim.
It doesn't. Here, I draw a line in the sand. You know whose side I'm always on? Shannon Sharp and Pat McAfee's. Nothing to do with their sports opinions. I love the way they dress. Shannon Sharp, always in a sweater. I don't care what the temperature is. I don't care what the situation is. Why is that way I'm wearing a cardigan and literally nothing else? Well, it's because we're on a beach and he's an insane man. Oh, and who's that next to him? Oh, well, that's the avatar for all of the middle ground white friends that every dude has. Their partners don't care for them, but they give good gifts once you have kids for some reason, so you have to keep them in your life.
Oh, yeah. That is
That's
true.
who Pat
like,
McAfee
why do
is.
people hang out with... Like, why did mom and dad have that guy as a friend? Because they just started giving them, like, snowboards. When your kids fucking... They're like, I guess he'll need a snowboard at one point.
Yeah, we did it. Like, it's one of those things. Now, I'm hopped up, Dylan. I'm hopped, and I'm up. Do you want to know why?
Okay, this was a fucking listener suggestion. John, explain what the episode's going to be while I fetch listener information and give out not only their username, their real name, their mailing address, and also a phone and email.
Oh, social security number. And by the way, we've got your PIN code and we got your security code. The Darknet has everything. I just bought crystal meth and I'm doxing all of our Patreon subscribers. Yep, that's right, guys.
Ooh.
I'm going Anthony Cumia 2018. I don't know how we ended up here, but I've been spending the last hour.
This is Bort. Bort suggested only the feud between Fred Durst and Scott Stapp, which we will talk about a bit because it takes 9 seconds. Wherein here's what Fred Durst brought rap. This is my favorite thing about Fred Durst is that all of the feuds he started, quote unquote, were essentially him. Like at one point he said, all Slipknot's fans are fat kids.
Yeah.
And then my favorite thing is when Slipknot refuted it, they didn't even refute it. They were like, so what?
Yeah. I mean, Corey Taylor's brought this up recently. He was like, it was a weird thing to kind of retort because, like, I'm at our shows. It's like one of those things where you're like man, you don't need to.
Although I saw Slipknot recently and there was women there.
Here's the thing.
I was disgusted.
Here's the thing that Slipknot has really benefited from, which is the aggressive bro culture of those guys need something to listen to in the gym, but they also are like, I need a hook. And basically Slipknot were 8 guys in Iowa that were like, we're going to do Slayer, but every song's about how, hey, Dad, I actually am not going to clean up my room. And although it's very aggressive, each chorus, it's getting stuck in your head. Like you wouldn't fucking believe.
Well, also Slipknot basically invented, in a way, Screamo. If you listen to their stuff, it's like they had really good marketing, but essentially they're just doing... Well, their first album's hard, but like most of the people are like, yeah, man, We're used to people who look like they owe child support and brag about not paying it, but you guys are just dressed like kind of, Stephen King's It ×6.
I got to tell you, one of the greatest moments of my life was I am at a house party. There are people having sex in a bedroom. They've put on a playlist to cover up their sex noises, and it's a small apartment, so we're just drinking in the kitchen while we can hear various hits of the 2000s. And clearly this was the man's playlist, because then it switches to Wait and Bleed, and that is played for the length of time it takes for two people to go like, we can fuck through this. Then one of them goes, no, we cannot. And then the music just stops. And then another 90 seconds later, two fully clothed people come out with that flushed face look. And one of them was not finished and was very pissed off.
Yeah, wait and pray for the bleed. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. It was the greatest 5 minutes. Just like, I know the play that's happening in that bedroom. I also have foolishly put on one of my playlists when there's a woman on the property. Oh my God, why did it just go from Mambo number 5 to Angel of Death? Because they're both in the same key.
A woman would be like, let's fucking fool around here. I'm turned on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put all 5 in my puss.
First of all, how do you think I get them turned on? You put on the mambo. You're wooing women without Lou Bega? Oh, well, I didn't realize. A little bit
of mambo.
I didn't realize this was fucking amateur hour, motherfucker.
Just a fucking tiny little bit
Just
of mambo.
Just a little bit of Monica in your life.
But yeah, the Fred Durst Scott Stapp feud, basically.
Go ahead.
At K-Rock's dysfunctional family picnic, Fred Durst goes, Scott Stapp's a fucking asshole. and then he gets interviewed on MTV and goes, yeah, he's mean to his fans. Their music's good, though, which is like a crazy...
That's the craziest hill to die on. Here's the two things you need to know about me.
People. You hear about his Eddie Van Halen thing? This sounds made up.
No.
So they met. They were gonna jam, and then obviously Eddie Van Halen was just, it was like Limp Bizkit was super hot, and he jammed with Eddie Van Halen because why not? You're fucking the hottest band in the world wants to jam with you. Eddie Van Halen basically leaves in a huff and leaves his guitar there. And he keeps on calling Fred Durst. This is from Eddie Van Halen saying this. He kept calling Fred Durst. Fred Durst kept saying, like, just basically not returning the call. And then he showed up. Eddie Van Halen owned a tank with like a mounted gun on it, and he just drove it onto Fred Durst's property and picked up his guitars. Well, people were like, "Why are you driving a tank onto my lawn?" And then
Eddie Van Halen,
might as well jump.
Bam, bam. Eddie Van Halen in the last 15 years is just a pilled up alcoholic just running around northern Los Angeles with people just being like, don't say anything, okay? It's Eddie Van Halen. And like his fame getting less and less. Like he smoked through having tongue and mouth cancer. What kind of bro do you have to be
that
for
was
them?
One of the things that they didn't like about Limp Bizkit was Limp Bizkit started smoking cigarettes in the room, and Eddie Van Halen didn't like that, so he left.
That's even crazier
after.
Because like every time you see Eddie Van Halen, including going into like chemotherapy, he's like, can you light them? Like that's insane. Because I guarantee he was like, this is.
I remember the fucking thing where he would have the cigarette, put it in the guitar, and play the guitar, and I remember being like, it's just a waste of a cigarette. Like just butt the cigarette out. We've all done that thing. The worst part about smoking, and one of the things I always remember about smoking when I want to start again, is when you would put a cigarette out, like when you would start a cigarette and then the bus would come and then you put it out and then you put it put it in your pocket and just like the whole bus reeks like your fucking shitty cigarette.
So here's the thing that you realize. Here's the thing with cigarettes. You know what's really good about cigarettes? The first 4 hauls. That's when I knew I was committed to smoking, when I was literally like, I'm going outside to smoke half a cigarette. That's what I want right now. And it's like, buddy, you need to cool it.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I mean, the first 4 hauls, the start of a cigarette is fantastic. Once you get to the end, it's like, I'm really fucking smoking this.
Oh, yeah. When you get to the end, you're like, at the beginning of it, you're a cool rock star about to sing a song. And by the end of it, you're a man who's no longer allowed to see his kids without direct supervision from the county.
Yeah, exactly. The glamour part of the cigarette is lighting it in the first half. The second half, you're like, this is not. That's why I didn't like Stubbies. Because Stubbies was all the end. It was like you get one drag and then you're just a dock worker
This is the thing with Canada, is that you don't realize that, like, Canada low key is such a cigarette smoking haven. Like, it is still a place where people are smoking. Like, America, everyone's on Zins. Everyone's on fucking Zins. Do you have these yet? You, my
yes,
friend.
we have. Well,
look
we
at
have
me.
a basic.
Look at me
We
right
have
now,
something
Dylan.
like Zins. We'll get it once.
Dylan,
Zins.
look at me.
Go away.
You are never allowed to try that stuff, because let me tell you what happens one
Isn't
week
it just
in.
gum?
It's smokeless nicotine pouches. Essentially, it's basically they were like, do you want the fucking hit of 5 cigarettes? And do you want to not have to spit while doing dip? Let's go for it. It's basically like it's a thing, you just hold it here and it absorbs into your gums and you just get jacked. And like you literally walk into green rooms now and it's time was people were on their phone. Now it's guys with 6 Zins in their mouth just shaking both legs, just like, I am excited for this set. And I'm like, yeah, man, I think you're going to talk quickly.
That's good though. That was my whole thing with nicotine lozenges. I remember I tried nicotine lozenges and I had half of one and I was like, I think I'm having a panic attack. I don't know what that's like, but I'm pretty sure my heart's gonna jump out of my chest.
I remember I was trying to quit smoking in 2010. I bought nicotine gum. I started crying so aggressively I went and bought a pack of cigarettes to calm down.
Oh hell yeah, John. Let me tell you.
Dylan?
Let me ask you this: what's some of your other favorite feuds?
Okay, we were going to start with rock feuds, the classics, the David Gilmour versus Roger Waters. The favorite part of that, by the way, is Roger Waters is like, I own the rights to the inflatable pig. And David Gilmour's like, our pig's got balls on it now. You don't own the rights to a pig with balls. And he was like, I will fucking go to court so I own a pig with balls. Like they were.
Here's what I like about rock feuds: there's no no one's ever been murdered.
Oh, sir. That's why I then was like, oh, maybe I'll look at one comedy feud. I'll get ready.
Comedy feuds are worse because who has the best blog?
I forgot about how. First of all, the best one I came across, Richard Pryor, Chevy Chase. Have you seen them on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson? It is the best example of sarcastic dick meets man who was raised in brothel who will fucking kill you. So here's the backstory. Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor are both being launched as the futures of NBC comedy. They've put feelers out that Chevy Chase will replace Johnny Carson as the host of The Tonight Show, because this is the period of time where Johnny Carson literally is like, you got to pay me everything. And oh, by the way, sexual harassment outlawed in my offices. And they were like, we don't know what that is. And so, but we like that as the word sex and the word harass. So you can get that for sure. He ended up with an amazing contract. Their position was they were going to give the show to Chevy Chase the way they or maybe Richard Pryor, although that's a long shot. And they launched these two by giving them primetime specials, one after the other on NBC. And they go on the show to promote them. Now, the backstory of this is Richard Pryor and Chevy Chase had met on SNL. They had famously done the word association sketch where they say the N-word a lot of times, and then Richard Pryor says, dead honky, and it's very funny. And Richard Pryor, after that sketch, was like, I do not like the way that Chevy Chase said the N-word. He enjoyed it too much. Fuck that guy.
I mean, yeah, that's a lot of faith to put in a person hey, this white guy's going to say the N-word on live TV. Hope you're not at all mad at him.
Well, here's the thing is Richard Pryor wrote that sketch. That was Richard Pryor's sketch. He was aware of it. He was just basically what I think it was Chevy Chase was a dick all week and Richard Pryor was biding his time and then was like, fuck this guy. Cut to Chevy Chase goes on the Tonight Show. He walks out and does a bunch of pratfalls. Oh, third mic's here. Things are about to get racy.
Wait, was Chevy Chase Chevy Chase I get to say it on Saturday? Just the whole week he was looking at Richard Pryor.
Here's the thing. I think he was.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, I'm glad that he said that actually, Dad. Whoa, Aussie.
He smiled.
Buddy. Yeah.
But yeah, the whole time, it's kind of like a porn star doing a scene where he's eyeing up he's like, we're gonna have sex. He's like, I get to finally say what I think. But Chevy Chase is also from wealth in New York.
Yeah, he's an American he's an American blue blood, and Richard Pryor's grew up in a whorehouse in Peoria, Illinois.
Yeah.
And Richard Pryor has since then been it was a real problem for me dealing with moneyed white people because they all look like the people that came to my house to have sex with my mom. And you're just
yeah.
Richard, no, Richard, no. And so basically, they get on the Tonight Show. Chevy Chase comes out, does a bunch of chair-based pratfalls, and keeps falling down. And like Johnny's laughing, ha 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 ha. It's like fucking ridiculous. He literally just keeps.
Can you imagine if some guy comes out and you're just like you're Richard Pryor. You're like a couple drinks in. You've had some lines, and you're like, and then just like a guy's like, whoop, somebody's ooh.
Not only that, it's the guy that for a week. A year and a half ago was just like, let's rehearse that sketch again, Richard. Hey, Richard.
Let's just do the blow line.
Yeah, let's just do the part. Let's just do my lines, and you're not in the room, and I'm yelling them at you. How about that, Richard? So then Richard Pryor comes out, and Richard Pryor has a look on his face I would describe as like, it is no longer party time, it is go time. And he walks out and literally is like, nice to see you, John. Nice to see you, Ed. And then like sits down next to Chevy, and he's like, hi, Chevy. And Chevy covers it up by then going like, hi, Richard. And then Johnny goes like, hi, Ed, in the same tone. And they think they've saved it. And then they start talking, and Chevy Chase just starts peppering in things, like throwing in jokes. And Richard Pryor I've never seen, like, it's the closest I've ever seen on a television talk show to a guy being like, yeah, I'm going to fucking kill him. I'm just going to do this. Like, there's like, he makes some amazingly funny jokes up to and including, he's like, I got to go see my son do a talent show. Someone says, what's his talent? And Chevy just goes, he's a hooker.
And Richard Pryor hates. I mean, this is the thing about Chevy Chase. We're familiar with this archetype. He's a fucking asshole, but he's good.
Charming asshole. Here's the thing that's very good though, is then right before that, Johnny like gets it all settled down. It's all fun, and then he just goes, "Oh, are you excited for your show?" And he looks down the camera and goes, "I do not like Chevy." And it's just, you're like, "Oh no, there's no fixing this." And then he does that, and then Richard just demands to know what he said, and then Johnny Carson cuts to commercial, and then I assume Richard Pryor did something very, very intense, like just like broke a mug and is just holding the handle, just like, you want to know what I could do with that? And he just does something to himself. You know what I mean? I could do this, and he just cuts his own neck.
Yeah. Like, here's a good combination, I think, for a stage: man on cocaine with a guy who is antagonistic.
It's so true. What's also interesting, I realized from watching that clip,
there couldn't be a man mowing a lawn more closer to a window that's open. Pardon me, one moment.
I can't hear anything.
Like, he basically looked at me, saw what was happening, started a lawnmower, and now is looking inside, murmuring, "Fuck you."
Is that man? Oh my God! It's Mr. Chevy Chase himself. I was in town for Second City, even though I didn't never do that. I'm just here to tell you, go fuck yourself. What is also very funny about watching that clip is, here's what I realize. Growing up with generational wealth and doing 3 lines of cocaine give you the same level of aggressive confidence. Like, it's one of those
buddy.
Like, I want to know what it's like to have generational
especially your
wealth.
Chevy Chase, where it's like
3 lines, and you're like, no one gets to talk to me that way. Nobody.
Yeah, your Chevy Chase, you're just like, hey, you know what? I'm sure I'm 6'4". Also, I'm very handsome. Look at this butt chin. People think I'm hilarious. I think I get to do whatever I want. I'm probably going to try flying from a building because I'm pretty sure I can just achieve flight.
Listen, my name is Chevy Chase, and here's how my career is going to work. I'm going to be say it with me, giant asshole. And I'm going to do that for so long, but be so handsome and good at comedy and movies that people are going to be like, what the fuck are you going to do? Here's the problem. I do not die in the 90s. I should have died in the 90s. If I had died in the 90s...
Hey, he was good on Community.
I mean, but then the backstory of that show just makes it... Also, can I just say this? Community is not that good. It is not that good. Everyone's just like...
Community is like... I rewatched it. Community is a lot of... what would you say? Community is a lot of something that is a transitional television show. It's like a transitional television show between how TV's made now, where you can just do it with a small fan base of perverts, and back then versus like they were like, well, 50-year-olds don't like it, so we're canceling it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing also with it is basically they made a movie every week, but it was also a movie about how like, hey, this movie is about how other movies are good, right? And you're like, wait, what am I watching here? Why don't I just watch The Birdcage instead of Kim Jong doing a geography class rehash of the movie The Birdcage? You know what I mean?
Also, the seasons they hated, they were like, we hated the first 2 seasons. I was like, well, those are the ones I like. So I guess I'm just a normal Ned over here.
It's also
There's
just
another
like
Durst, yeah.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, the one thing I do love about comedy feuds, and this is shown in the next one, is there's sort of 3 batches, I would call them, with comedian feuds. One is it's Dick versus Dick. Richard Pryor, Chevy Chase, perfect category of this. You know what I'm saying? It's like one guy, his great-grandfather invented the railroad. Other guy smoked a bunch of cocaine in a limo. Let's have a confrontation. Second one, and this one I think is my greatest. One is comedian tries to be serious. Other comedian does job, makes fun of serious guy. Comedian who was taken serious reacts so much more aggressively than is warranted for the situation. Perfect example, Dice Clay versus Sam Kinison. I forgot Dice Clay did this, Dylan. He went on Arsenio and almost broke into tears talking about how hard it is for him right now. He had just been banned from MTV, and he was promoting his movie Ford Fairlane. This is the beginning of the end of Dice's like meteoric rise and then fall. And he's in a red leather jacket, and he almost cries, and then he lights a cigarette. And then Sam Kinison, being, once again, cocaine playing a heavy role in this saga, shows up on Arsenio, pretends to smoke a cigarette, and just makes fun of Dice Clay super hard. Dice Clay is super pissed off about it, then goes on the Howard Stern show where Jackie the Joke Man Martling attacks him. And what's great about that is he is wearing a jester hat the entire time and just starts yelling the name of the HBO special. But, and this is very important, loses a confrontation to a man who goes by Joke Man.
Well, I mean, those guys, like the gimmick guys, they're always kind of like destroyed pretty quickly, like Dice Clay and all that.
I mean, but Dice Clay is back. Like, here's the thing. Like, I live in LA.
Like, obviously, like, there's a bunch of comedians who I think are funny, some of them, but basically their gimmick is, I'm gonna say gay and retarded again.
Oh my God! Did you see all the videos?
Like, the amount of like 29-year-old comedians I see just shoehorning the word gay into the set and then looking at the crowd like, am I gonna get attacked? Probably. It is makes me feel old. I'll say that.
It also makes me feel old, but I'm also like, you know what's fun about this? Is I'm really excited to see what comes after this. Because it's also like where do you go from here? Bros?
Oh, nerds will be fine again.
Yeah, but no, you don't understand. What happens to those guys? Do those guys pivot out of dropping a hard
just not
G?
be famous and pretend it never happened?
Oh, that's going to be so sad. Yeah, but know what's the best part of that?
How many comedians do you know that white comedians have said the N-word in 2008?
Do you know how many?
A lot.
Do you know how many who said the N-word?
Oh,
in
yeah,
2000?
you have friends that said it recently.
Yeah,
what am I talking about?
Yeah, 2010s, my man.
He's eating cats all over the place. He's calling them the N-word, chewing on them.
Whoa! It's wild, my friend. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I was thinking about like how, like what songs will be like the Charleston to them, because I remember I went through a thing where I was like, I'm just gonna listen to the Charleston for a while, and I guess their version of that would be like what?
Who let the dogs out by the Baja Man?
No, it'll be what's
the Macarena
song, like Johnny Be Good.
It'll be like the fucking Macarena, bro.
Fuck the Macarena. You guys never had line dancing class, did you? That's why you're godless.
First of all, I did line dancing at a rich kid camp in 2006, and the instructor said, "Is there something wrong with you?" And I went, "Yeah, I don't have any reflexes." And he went, "It shows, man." And I always will remember his eyes of he was like deeply offended I didn't want to participate in what clearly was some sort of deceptive cover-up for a crime. No one's a line dancing and square dancing instructor in upper New York State. That's fucking insane. That's like being a fucking, what do you do? Oh, I sell saunas in Arizona. What the fuck are you doing here, man? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's what fun thing about anyway, more comedian feuds, more rock feuds.
Okay,
Fred Durst, Britney Spears. Here's the feud there. Fred Durst says, I banged her. She says, no. I honestly believe Fred Durst. He said, one of the funniest things is, I swear on my son's life, I got a suck job from that 18-year-old. Like, it's one of the greatest things. On my beautiful son's perfect eyes, I swear to you, I tit fucked that mentally ill woman.
Here's the things you need to know. If I am lying about this, my son will die. That's how much I need you to know that I nutted 1.5 times, and then I looked her right in the eyes and went, "No, that's toxic."
Yeah, exactly. I pre-cummed, then I regular cummed, and that's how she wrote the song. I'm so lucky.
I don't like the candor of your tone while you're nursing a baby who's staring right in my eyes. There's just something about this where I'm like, I feel very.
I don't even connect this as being a thing.
Yeah, not all of us are parents. I understand that you have reached that level where you're like, listen, my mind and body are two separate entities. Up here, I'm just thinking about cool kicks Sean Strickland could do. Down here, I'm managing two souls.
Sean Strickland doesn't kick. This is what I love about Fred Durst's entire. If you look at all his feuds, it's like a passive-aggressive guy trying to be a guy in a rap feud. Because he'll be like, yeah, I mean, Scott Stapp's like pretty good or whatever. I'm just saying he looks kind of like a fuckhead.
Here's what it is it's like 3 different guys are inside Fred Durst because he's suddenly a famous 30-year-old. And that's why Limp Bizkit's so good now is because they're all in their 50s and they're like, whoa, how much? And we get to go to Latvia? Yeah, man, I'll play break stuff. Let's go. John Otto. We'll take the Tappan Zee Bridge. You know what I mean? And so that's the nice thing. But in the early time, Fred Durst was treating it like everything was a message board. You know what I mean? So like they'd be like, I fucking hate Limp Bizkit. And he'd be like, yeah, you would because your fans are fat. And he treated everything like it was like fucking the internet in 2008 where it wasn't real. Like you could literally be like, I'll cut your tits off. And then you see that person. They're like, why'd you say that? And I went, I didn't say it. I typed it on the internet, which doesn't count.
Yeah, that wasn't me. That was Beast Mode 625.
Yeah, that was John Hammer Penis 68, neighbor of the sex. But you know, the best feuds for my money are when the rock stars are stupendously old, such as David Crosby v. Neil Young. Neil Young leaves his wife for Daryl Hannah. David Crosby's ex.
Whoa, that's sick.
Did you know about this?
That he had sex with Daryl Hannah? No.
I don't know if he had sex. I don't know if Neil Young has sex. Have you seen Neil Young? Neil Young seems like he's like, hey,
I mean, Neil Young for sure has beasted in a bunch of throats.
I don't know, man. Yeah, he probably had. Imagine having the memory of seeing the guy who sings "Rockin' in the Free World." I don't like that the baby's staring at me again.
yeah, that's what I liked.
I know what you're doing.
Keep on rocking in the free world.
I hate this.
Don't tell anyone this happened.
I hate this so much.
Keep this secret between us.
I feel like this is going to be used in divorce proceedings, and I will be on the opposing side.
That's good. I mean, that's what this podcast is for. Causing divorces. Divorces.
Send us your divorce. Play this podcast and get divorced. Your husband is cheating on you, and you deserve to be the one to be cheating.
Yes. Neil Young. So Neil Young made Whoopi with Daryl Hannah fully so many times that he married her.
He left his wife of 37 years. It was just like, it feels loveless. And she was like, he literally never ever said anything to me about this ever. And then he was like, I married Daryl Hannah. Also, my ex-wife has cancer.
Oh, yeah. Nothing more bigger turnoff than cancer.
Yeah, especially for an aged rock star. So he marries Daryl Hannah. David Crosby's asked about it, and David Crosby calls her a poisonous predator. It's just like, what the fuck? Neil Young is like, well, I'm never going to work with that guy again. And then David Crosby's like, I probably shouldn't have said that. I have never met her. So and you're just like, the fuck?
I love it. When is this? What year is this?
2014, baby.
Oh my God. He married Daryl Hannah. Wow, that's like 10 years post Kill Bill.
Yeah, that's right.
That's crazy. And Daryl Hannah's like, yeah, I'll marry this 78-year-old man or whatever.
Yeah, I'll live in a giant ranch with a guy who's, I think, already dead or a pile of laundry. All right.
I'll just be alone at this ranch, but then there's a skeleton.
Yeah, this guy keeps
looks
talking
like a scarecrow. He always has looked like a scarecrow.
We're leaving after the gold rush. Whatever, Neil. What was I going to say? So then what happens, what transpires with that is Graham Nash, who's obsessed with Neil Young, according to David Crosby, then gets really pissed off at David Crosby that he's destroyed Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, attacks him a bunch of times on stage for no reason. Now, Graham Nash's point is like, look, I also left my wife for a 30-year-old artist in New York, and David Crosby kept saying things like, I respect my marital vows, Graham. And he was like, I fucking I fucking left my wife. What do you want fucking from me? I thought you were my fucking friend.
It must be very interesting to be David Crosby when you're like, hey, I respect my marital vows. I'm the only one in my industry. Like, I'm the only person I know who hasn't remarried like a 9-year-old.
Well, first of all, that's because
he this child 1 sec.
I understand. He also literally, like, the thing with David Crosby doing that also was like he had a song called Triad, where it's literally like threesomes are cool when I do them. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where the reason why he was able to be faithful to his wife is he literally did all the sex in the 70s you could. Him and his wife ended up both in like rehab and totally fucked, and Graham Nash had to bail him out. And then he's like, I can't keep your marriage together, Graham. And he's like, 'cause of you, I'm so stressed. And they stopped being friends, and it's the best. I gotta tell you, I love comedy feuds even more than music feuds, just because the comedy feuds are so petty. Dave Chappelle is still angry at Key and Peele for just having a sketch show with talking interstitials. Do you understand that, according to Dave Chappelle, that Dave Chappelle should call Saturday Night Live and be like, how did you steal my idea 30 some odd years, 40 some odd years before I had it? How did you do it? How did you do it? I also find it weird no one celebrates they didn't celebrate the 30th anniversary the way that they celebrated like the 40th, the 50th. That is so crazy. We're at the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live this next year. Jesus. I remember the 25th anniversary special. It was phenomenal. Oh, talk about SNL feuds. Norm Macdonald, Chris Kattan. What a phenomenal feud that is. Here is the feud. Norm Macdonald bullied Chris Kattan, and Chris Kattan...
Well, Chappelle's nuts. Like, he's fully nuts. Like, I think that he I think is really funny on like any like award show you see him on. I think he's super funny just because also, like award shows are boring, and then here's a drunk guy who's gonna say random stuff. But like, dude, he is like, every time he is truly the uncle where it's like you beat him in an argument, and then he comes back to the barbecue with another point that he came up with 6 months ago, but then he has to act like it just came up in conversation. Oh, speaking of trans rights, I wasn't doing that. I was trying to put mustard on something. No, we're talking about trans rights, and here's the thing.
Here's the thing that people also don't realize. When you're rich for a super long time, I think you go nuts.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle just went bug freaking notte.
Yeah, I mean, he can't really even feud with them because they don't. What like, is it?
Well,
what is the feud? Like, is it Key and Peele just trying to have careers, and then Dave Chappelle's occasionally saying fuck them and they don't respond? I'll tell you this, the Fred Durst thing when he was the A&R of, I think it was like Universal or something.
Interscope.
And Taproot sent them their demo, and we're all familiar with this. You send a piece of something to a executive, they say, I'll listen to it. Months pass, they don't, obviously. You send the demo out to everybody, right? Or the video. So anyway, then Taproot signs with a new thing, and then Fred Durst leaves a voicemail that's basically like, you fucked up. You're never going to work in this fucking town again. It's fucking awesome. Oh,
it's really good. The thing with the Key and Peele thing is Dave Chappelle's literally like, that was my idea. You stole my show. Don't go to Africa. That's the thing I learned. Don't go to Africa or they steal your show. And like Key and Peele's point were like, it's not stealing when you're doing something in the same genre 9 years after you did it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like it was 2000. Mind of Mencia was like directly like, let's just
Mind of
give
Mencia. The working title of Mind of Mencia was called Chappelle Show Mexico, and they originally were just like, hey Dave, can you be a Mexican person? He's like, I'm not Mexican, and they were like, this again. You know what I mean? What's also insane about Dave Chappelle He's yet to figure out, I'm my best when Neil Brennan's around, and Neil Brennan needs to figure out, like, it's like, I actually find Neil Brennan's podcast clips very enjoyable because he's the only person that just, and this is, my God, strap in for this gentleman calling a kettle calling a pot black. He just lets his guests talk forever, and it's very soothing when you're all amped up. I sometimes get amped up, as you know, Dylan.
Well, I haven't given anything Neil Brennan's ever done a chance just because of his face. Is that okay? It's tough. He looks like, here's also Neil Brennan's particular look, is he looks like shitty asshole from 2010's Toronto. You know what I mean? Like the kind of guy that would show up at the Crown and Tiger open mic in a fleece and be like, I actually just do improv because that's the purest form of comedy. And then that person has to leave comedy in general because it's discovered that he was essentially some sort of human trafficker for an improv ring. Yeah, human trafficker for improv. So wait, they take people from third world countries and force them into improv?
You can't say no.
So it's like Taken, but instead of Taken, they just find them on a boat, and they're forcing them to do zip zap zop.
I was just about to say yes. They're being forced. They're being forced to play this freeze tag.
Don't do that with my daughter, Karen.
Yeah, zap.
Sharon.
Zip zap.
Zip zap zop.
How many improv classes do you have to take at Humber Comedy College?
We had to take one. I never did any of the scenes. I just couldn't do it because they were like, oh no, you have to like yes and people's ideas, and I was like, everyone's ideas are bad, so I refused. It's truly what happened. I was like, I don't want that to happen. Why would that happen? This is a bad idea. My idea.
Your Humber Comedy class was also very good because it was the most like towny bro year. Like it's literally like a bunch of guys who showed up covered in hay who were like, I just wanted to talk about shit, man.
Yeah, that's fucking shit. Well, I mean, one of the guys in our class did take a shit in the garbage can, and then we all stuck around to watch everyone in the next class realize that someone had taken a human shit in a garbage can. That was pretty fun.
I mean, I got to tell you, how that didn't happen on a semi-daily occurrence, I'll never know. I remember not liking Humber Comedy College because I met one guy who had brought an acoustic guitar he brought it to an event. And just sat there strumming, talking about how he was learning about oneness in comedy at Humber. And I was like, I'm not going to that school because if I have to fucking be around this piece of shit, I'm going to lose my mind. Then I moved to Toronto and saw that guy literally every day for 3 years.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it is, man. I mean, you take what you can, and you take what you can from a terrible arts college, John. Here's another rock feud is all the members of Fleetwood Mac versus each other.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, so how that worked was...
That's whiny, which is good.
There's two couples and a guy named Mick Fleetwood. One of the couples break up because the woman starts pwning the lighting director. That never gets fired.
Woman? Stevie Nicks.
Christine McVie. No.
She gives the old DT to that lighting director.
I believe so, yeah. She starts pwning the roadie. Yeah. Bass player just hangs out. He's just like, well... Okay. Stevie Nicks starts having a full affair with Mick Fleetwood, the ugliest man in rock. He's both tall and comes across as short. Yes, and his shoulders are in weird proportion. Oh my God, it's like the tree from Lord of the Rings is wearing a bunch of turquoise jewelry, and he's got thoughts on oneness.
You say that, but like, have you ever seen fucking BTO Randy Bachman?
Yeah, every day of my fucking life I got a mural of the man in my bathroom.
In a onesie.
Oh, but Randy Bachman, literally, he is the opposite of health. Him in the 70s is literally like, fuck, there's cottage cheese in the fucking guitar again. How the fuck did they get
cottage cheese is actually super healthy, but I like where your joke is going. You picked the wrong food.
Yeah, but not
I found a way to make fried chicken into a cigarette.
Yeah, but what you're not picturing is a full acoustic guitar filled to the brim with cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese is very healthy, John.
If you ate that whole thing, a whole guitar of cottage cheese, that can't be healthy.
Measure it out. 100% it is.
No, that's
I was babysat by my grandparents. So all I did was eat cottage cheese and liver. And then once they stopped babysitting me, it's all been fucking downhill from then. Look at it. Fucking liberals are in. Avro Arrow hasn't been restarted. Look at this. I said liberals and my son had a spasm. Look how well trained he is.
Yeah, he knows exactly about the betrayal that we all feel about the Avro Arrow cancellation. Yeah.
He's a shudder of a fucking Trudeau.
Yeah, goddamn right. Defen Trader is what I call him, not Defen Baker.
Defen Trader, that's good.
Defen Trader.
They sunk the Avro Arrow because
goddamn right they
there
did.
was no reason for us to have a fucking...
we wanted
why do we need an Air Force under attack from nobody? It's the first sick shit.
Yeah, because we want to fucking fly sick shit. We want to be fucking cool. We want to be...
Imagine if Canada just had a fucking awesome Air Force for no reason.
Yeah, so they're just America.
Just fucking... Just doing this thing to Greenland? We fucking know Greenland.
Yeah. Why do you guys have 80 ballistic jets pointed at Greenland? Because our dicks are full of cum and we fucking use them, motherfucker. Yeah, I think Canada's pivot post-Trudeau should just be 1950s militaristic America. You know what I mean? Just picking fights with weird countries. In the news today, Canada, for no reason, bombed where they thought the Bering Land Bridge used to be. We don't like walking. You swim. Hey. They should have swum here.
Got too many fucking tortoises. Give us your tortoises.
Oh, fuck yeah,
John,
man.
what are your... How about this? Let's loot up on two of your favorite rock feuds, and they can't be the fact that Fred Durst also claims he gets sucked off by all the members of Korn. No, that's not true.
There's many good rock feuds. My personal favorite rock feud... I think I'm going to have to go... I really like David Crosby versus the Doors because it is totally one-sided because Jim Morrison is dead. And only in the 90s did David Crosby wrote a song called Morrison about how he sang off key and his band didn't have a bass player and he was a dork. And he would like go out of his way to be like, Morrison, you jerk. And it's just, the man's dead, David, you asshole. I know
Isn't
David
he dead
Crosby's
for like 30 years?
Yeah, he's been dead for 30 years, and David Crosby's like, eh. And here's what you clearly can tell in the tone of voice is like, Jim Morrison fucked one girl David Crosby wanted to fuck in 1964, and David Crosby went to his bed scream raging. The next feud, and I'll say this is my number 2 feud, and it's the best one, Billy Joel, Elton John. Would you like to know what the feud is about, Dylan?
Billy Joel made up the instrument of piano. Like
You're much closer than you realize. Billy Joel is an alcoholic, and Elton John's like, hey, man, you got to stop being such an alcoholic. And Billy Joel's like, nah, I don't want to. And he's like, well, you don't write any new songs. And he's like, I wrote Piano Man. I don't give a fuck. And he was like, but your audience wants to see new stuff. And he's like, no, they don't. They want to see Empire State of Mind, man. Let's go. And it's like the funnest feud because Elton John's like, you seriously need to seek help. And he's like, you seriously need to suck my dick. I'm having a great time. Like, it's like the greatest, like, it's the difference between guy who's gotten sober, guy still partying, where it's like, you know, you were at one time married to Christy Brinkley and now you're no longer married to her. And he's like, yeah, man, I tit fucked like 8 waitresses in one night and then called her. It was fucking great. Let's fucking have a drink. You know what I mean? Like,
well, wasn't what's it called? Billy Joel got in like 7 or not 7, but like a lot of different car accidents.
I believe he has driven into his house more than once. I know he has driven into his house once. Like, and his rock bottom was like, I hit the piano and I heard a note. And you know what that song's called? It's called "We Didn't Start the Fire." It was originally called "I Didn't Drive the Car into the House," but I did.
Fire, fire, fire! I like fire, and fire is fun. There should be other lyrics. Suck my ass.
Yeah,
write a song then.
The 4th verse of that is very attacking Elton John. And you kind of smell weird in the green room that one time in Ohio.
You smell like shit. You bet you don't shower. You fucking shit.
It's so funny because Elton John still is like, I wish Bill would talk to me. And Billy's like, I'll talk to you anytime you want, man. You want a drink? No, you got a drink. It's just like,
you want a drink? We got a drink.
It's like Billy Joel is what every Jimmy Buffett fan is. Like, it's the weird. But then you go into a Billy Joel concert, it's all these like lovely moms. Like, he's just a sweet guy. And then there's just the Hunchback of Notre Dame playing the piano, just covered in red wine. Me and the bass player. Bass player's dead.
I have a good subject for our next show.
We already discussed what it was going to be.
No, but this is the last one. No, because I think I want to switch it.
Oh.
This is the last one. Or maybe I'll save it for another one. But this is the last one. My favorite feud, trying to close up on topic, Fred Durst versus Nine Inch Nails. It started by Nine Inch Nails just colloquially saying Limp Bizkit's terrible. He's like, yeah, Limp Bizkit's terrible. All their bands are fucking pieces. All their fans are pieces of shit, which is something that now no one does. No one goes like, not only is Sabrina Carpenter a cunt, her fans are all cunts. Like, which is all the metal feuds are just like, not only do I not like Megadeth fans are all fucks. And it's like, if you like this music, it's like being into a specific type of porno. All we listen to is this music.
I see. Here's the thing that's fun about that is those artists, that what that is also revealing is those artists think they're mainstream. That's something that doesn't exist anymore. Everyone's just performing to their own audience. So you wouldn't attack their audience for fear that you share an audience. But back then,
you're always trying to expand it, and you have to expand it in these specific ways because, like, since you're like, if this podcast started getting maybe 10 listeners, then we would go to another podcast that has 10 listeners and try and get all 10 of those listeners. So it's like, we're not even like, oh, our listeners will also listen to this new thing. It's like, no, we're very much performing for a new fan base now. And just praying we get a video made of us called, John Does Cringe.
Oh, if I appear in a This Comedian Is Bad documentary produced on one of those YouTube channels, that's my Tonight Show being waved over to the couch right there. I'll be like,
I mean, it is.
Fuck,
it is. It would be fucking sick. But anyway, here's how the Nine Inch Nails feud culminates. It's one of the greatest things. You know how every rapper, when they call a guy out, they're like, you're gay or whatever, or like, I'm going to kill you because you're gay, or minimum, like, I mean, the way they do it now is crazy because it used to be like, you're gay and I'm going to kill you. And 2024 is like, you're a bad father and your dad was a bad father. So you have no chance in life because your whole family are full of negligent idiots, which is like, I didn't realize that Kendrick Lamar's ghostwriter was my grandmother, which is pretty good.
What is also important to remember, and what I enjoy so much, is rap in our era, none of the feud songs were then played as dance songs for 13 and 14-year-olds.
Yes,
well,
they
now,
were.
like, no, they weren't. Not at my high school, anyway.
Hit 'em up.
No, would not be played.
Yes.
My school, Dylan. No, we just went to two different types of
school.
At my school, is what
your
I'm saying.
school. Well, at the fall formal.
Oh, at the fall formal, it was just a principal reading out things
The
that were
daddy-daughter
bad.
dance, where the daddies get to dance.
There was
with
never a
whoever's daughter they
daddy-daughter
select.
dance. There was a
There's a
daddy-daughter
daddy-daughter
dance.
dance in the South.
There's a daddy-daughter dance at Dylan's house.
Daddies get to pick the daughters.
Oh, no.
That would be my only. That's one of JD Vance's. At the daddy-daughter dance, it's not your own daughter. You get to pick the daughter, and it can be from outside the school. And there's no age restriction on the daughter.
Can I just say this one thing about JD
And it
Vance?
happens every year till you die. 31 daddy-daughter dance. 32 daddy-daughter dance. 33 daddy-daughter dance.
I've never seen a guy who more looks like as soon as the camera turns off, he just goes, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, there's just something about his face where I just feel like as soon as the camera's off, he's just like, when do I get to stop doing this? And then someone's on the phone being like, look, you don't. And he's like, okay, I love money. But yeah, there's just something about...
Here's what I don't like about JD Vance. His name is JD. Couldn't look less like a JD. I was expecting a guy with salt and pepper hair and a cowboy hat who started every single debate answer with, no, as you know, I'm a small town guy. I don't nothing about nothing. I ain't no big city lawyer. And then he says, Tim Waltz sucks his own dick or whatever.
JD for me, and this would have been an even better Trump running mate, is a Long Beach, suddenly right wing because a girl he was dating in COVID did a lot of yoga. Dude named JD Vance, shirtless at the debate. Every time Tim Walz spoke for more than 3 citizens, he's just impressed he remembered all of that. And then all of his points were like, you're harshing my Mel and I got 4 crystals. Come at me, bro. If they literally pivoted to just a crystal fucking woo to Q bro as the VP running mate of the Republican Party, undefeatable ticket.
If it was, yes. If it was a Barstool Sports host, but he was just really into crystals and astrology, 100% vote.
I would end up voting for him by accident. Like, I'd be like, I don't want to vote for Corey Rock. Yeah, but then unfortunately he's rubbed too many of his amethyst crystals, so I'd be like, my pen went there. You know what I mean?
First of all, may I say, someone's a Taurus.
Yeah. Can I just say, I cannot wait for Dave Portnoy's eventual aborted presidential run because it is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah. He's gonna try and restrict voting rights immediately. Here's how this Fred Durst 9 Inch Nails feud culminates. John, here's how it happens. Fred Durst makes a diss track. 9 Inch Nails. We just listened to it last week.
Hot dog. Of course. Dog. It's stuck in my head for a day and a half.
There's a bunch of 9 Inch Nails choruses in there, aren't there, John?
Correct.
Before they release the album, Fred Durst has to ask Trent Reznor permission to sign off on the diss track. Trent Reznor does and gets writing credit. How many albums did that sell, John?
Oh my God, I didn't even consider that was the
benefited from his own diss track. No Vaseline, Eazy-E doesn't get money from that.
Yeah.
Hit 'em Up, Biggie doesn't get money from that. None of these diss tracks do people make money from it other than like fucking all the diss tracks that fucking 50 Cent has against Ja Rule constantly over the years. Ja Rule doesn't get one fucking penny.
Can we just pause for a moment? No one is better at feuding than 50 Cent. 50 Cent has been waiting for the P. Diddy situation to hit the mainstream for 3 years. It is like watching an 11-year-old have a birthday on that guy's Instagram. He's just having the best time. He's promoting Shreveport, Louisiana for a reason I can't fucking figure out.
Because he like us. He like if he makes money from another. 50 Cent is weirdly he's the mega successful version of a guy with a job who just does stand up on the weekends because it's like he doesn't need to do these concerts. He's a fucking billionaire.
Yeah, it's called vitamin water, motherfuckers.
He came up with vitamin water, dude. Like that's fucking crazy. John, that's it. Our next episode will be we only have a bit left of time to record, so next episode's gonna be about Salt Bae.
Guys,
John doesn't know
what that is.
Salt
Bae. I didn't know who it was. I thought Salt Bae was a joke. I didn't realize it was real until Dylan said we're going to do Salt Bae. And I was like, that meme? And then I was like, he has a restaurant?
Dude, he has a ton of restaurants. And he
has a ton of restaurants?
He refuses to give tips to the waiters. More on that.
Oh.